Okay,
Wait.
so.
Wait. You weren't recording any of that?
Nope.
Ow.
Sorry.
I was doing a whole bunch of speculation.
Alright, so who do you ship? Menace? Fiora?
I was just talking about how awkward. I know I've seen it somewhere before where someone has amnesia or a different spirit or being is inhabiting the body of the love interest of the main protagonist, and they can't help but fall in love with that person too, even though... Oh, I'm trying to think of what game or movie it was from.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'll think of an example later. But it is definitely awkward having... I mean, Melia has a crush on Shulk. Fiora obviously has the long-hood childhood friend crush on Shulk. And then you have... Is it Malith?
Yeah.
She...
Menace?
Menace? I know that there is an N in there. Menace. Okay. She's probably being influenced by Fiora, but she might only be intrigued as opposed to actually falling in love with him.
Yeah, weird robot lady soul.
Yeah. Unless she is some kind of ancient entity.
Possibly. I mean, they said reawakened.
Yeah, she's been reawakened. And who's this Enil? Enil might be the guy with the staff that you were referring to earlier.
Could be.
Because the interesting thing was they were saying, lady, you shouldn't go, try to meet with the boy. And she goes, oh, but, Enil hasn't found out I've awoken yet. I'm free to go now. Wonder if Enil is her husband or something. I don't know. That would be awkward.
Oh, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I like Dunban, but... Look at this running animation.
Mm-hmm.
I like Dunban, but I don't think he's good enough yet. Oh, she doesn't have a hat. Oh, because they keep taking it off of her. That's dumb.
Yeah, I think the closest examples to this would have been similar to the whole reincarnation instances, like with Inuyasha and other things.
Yeah.
But I know that...
Well, I said earlier that this is probably the inspiration for how Xenoblade Chronicles 2 went.
Mm-hmm.
That, they had this kind of whole two souls, one body thing. And then somebody on the writing team was like, oh, wait, that's really sexy. And then it got real weird in the writing office for a while.
Uh-huh. Well, if you think about it, first off, I think it's immensely creepy. But one thing that is always an obstacle in the childhood best friend for their relationship to have any tension, it's usually just the will they, won't they, etc. But if you have the added obstacle of they're not themselves, or they have amnesia, or maybe they've been turned evil somehow, or are under the influence of someone or something else, like particularly if they are made into a villain, then it's the main character's prerogative to, remember who you are, and that stuff, you know what I mean? Remember all the times that we spent together. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, they can have a pre-established relationship, but you also learn about that pre-established relationship because, in a way, the love interest has to relearn it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just die?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. In a way, it's almost why you have main protagonists that get amnesia. I know it's a very tired and old trope, but in that way, the main protagonist is learning, or if they're a young adventurer going out for the first time, then you're learning alongside them about the world, as opposed to having the gruff, wizened warrior who's... You wouldn't have to relay that information, necessarily. And it wouldn't be new to them. Though usually, the old grizzled warriors are the ones that have been brought out of retirement, and then things still might be new for them because, oh, you know, the last time I adventured was 10 years ago. You know, things have changed a lot in the last decade. You know what I mean? So I suppose that can occur too. Oh, I have a good example. Remember Beast Machines?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Beast Machines, I suppose, spoilers for Beast Machines if you've never seen Beast Wars and Beast Machines. In Beast Wars, there was a couple, Black Arachnia and Silverbolt. And they were enemies at first because Black Arachnia had been made into a Predacon, which was the equivalent of the... I suppose the Autobots versus the Decepticons. So, the Autobot equivalent would have been the Maximals. So, Silverbolt, while he had initially been revived first by the Predacons, I forget if he willingly became a Maximal, like if he was just able to will the change, or if it was never imprinted on him. Come on. I think it was never imprinted on him. After he emerged. Ooh, is this what the nighttime looks like?
Huh. I didn't know there was a casual mode for this game.
Wait, you turned it to casual mode?
No.
Or is it's saying, you've died a number of times in a row. Do you want casual mode?
I just didn't know it was a thing. This is cool looking. Yeah.
It's so pretty at night.
Effectively, these giant bird things, we have to kill them. But every time I start fighting one of those, like, elemental creatures shows up and starts wrecking my shit.
Oh.
And, like, they do a lot of damage.
And it's hard to kite them into a particular place, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I should kill them otherwise, but...
So what I was gonna say is... Between the first series and the second series, yeah, they fall in love and such, even though it's very much a... Black Arachnia is like, stop bothering me and stop trying to turn me, I'm bad to the core. And he's all chivalrous and... He speaks as though he's a knight in shining armor. And she actually frequently calls him knight in shining armor. But when they finally get back to Cybertron, he's missing. And they don't know where he is. And Black Arachnia and the rest of the Maximals, because at that point she had turned into a Maximal. I think it was the 3rd season of the Beast Wars series. So she's distraught because, yeah, they don't know what became of her. Or him, I should say. So they're pestered by Megatron is back as always, and he has a bunch of goons under his command. But you find out that many of these goons are actually former enemies and allies that had been warped and given these new bodies. And Silverbolt was one of them. And it was definitely one of those situations where he had completely different programming and was vain and bloodthirsty and such, completely the opposite of what Silverbolt was. It was funny though, because Black Arachnia the whole time had been led to believe that one of the other guys was Silverbolt.
Oh.
But it ended up being Waspinator.
Yep.
He was just, I suppose he had a crush on her ever since the first series, and he was playing it up. Oh gosh. Fun fact, Waspinator, Silverbolt, Rat Trap, and Dinobot were all voiced by the same voice actor.
And that voice actor, Matt Mercer. No.
No.
That's just me just memeing.
No. This was long before his time. This was the 90s.
Matt Mercer's dad. Dad Mercer.
No. In any case, so... People are saying Rat Trap becomes a tree hugger. Yeah. I never anticipated that he'd ever have a romance, but that was fun back in the day. She is, once again, the complete opposite of Rat Trap. Rat Trap was always going, we're all gonna die. And he was pretty selfish throughout. But she was just the epitome of the plant creature that eventually joins them. Autobot, I suppose. Well, no, it would still be Maximals. I think they were still called Maximals. She was like the party healer in a way.
I forgot about her.
She appeared very late. What I liked about Beast Machines is it really, actually, throughout Beast Wars and Beast Machines, I remember Cheetor always being one of my favorite characters. Because he had gone from being the kid to becoming a leader in his own right. Sometimes even too fervently. I suppose the kid role then went to Nightwing. Or no, not Nightwing. Why am I saying Nightwing? I suppose it's because he's a bat too. Wasn't it Night Scream?
I forgot he existed.
Uh-huh. Admittedly, he was whiny and angry much of the time. He wanted vengeance because he was the only member of the group that had been an Autobot still on Cybertron when Megatron returned and killed everyone. But yep, so Black Arachnia is finally able to break through to Silverbolt. And then the problem is he has to grapple... He essentially becomes Batman. He has to grapple with a bunch of guilt. And he's no longer optimistic anymore. And then she spends much of the series trying to bring the old Silverbolt back. I loved Beast Wars and Beast Machines.
Yep.
Wander knows because I had him watch the entire series. And we started dating. In the midst of watching, what was it, episode 7?
The fastest way to a girl's heart is to find her nerddom. And feed it.
Yeah, what would I say would be the most influential series for me growing up? For me, it would be... For video games, it'd be Myst and The Legend of Zelda. Hands down. For movies and shows and various media, it would definitely be Star Trek, Star Wars, and Transformers, specifically Beast Wars and Beast Machines. I'd say I like Pokemon as well for games.
I liked it, but it was never that influential.
No. I'm trying to think of what do I have the most toys and action figures for. That's a good indicator of what I really loved. And I'd have to say that the most stuff I have is for Star Wars, followed by Beast Wars and Beast Machines, and then probably Pokemon. But then again, Legend of Zelda, they never made enough stuff for it. Nintendo never makes enough stuff for their other properties.
They kind of do. Just not in the West. So...
Or your most influential series for it. Well, I'll just say Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings as well. But go on.
Digimon...
I had a lot of Digimon
anything
stuff
from
too.
Blizzard.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to play any Blizzard games.
Red Alert. Which, the HD remake of Red Alert 1 and Command and Conquer 1 just came out. I've been meaning to get to that, but stuff keeps happening. Yeah, I'm trying to think about it. Digimon, Red Alert, StarCraft, and Diablo, Final Fantasy Tactics. And I guess Dragon Warrior Monsters.
The interesting thing is, though, what were the things that you got a lot of the side media for?
Almost nothing. Like, I know
that your parents weren't too keen on you guys getting toys.
Toys-wise, the only thing my parents were really...
You did get the little Patamon that I had.
I did. I got that as a present.
Oh, you got the Transformer
Pretty
Patamon
sure.
as a present. Okay.
I could be wrong. But no, for me, the toys that, like, I got were mostly secondhand. And only when I was, like, young. Specifically, like, when we lived in New Mexico, we would get all of our toys from thrift stores.
Ah.
This is a bad place. But yeah, we'd mostly get our toys from thrift stores and stuff instead of actually, like, going out and buying stuff. I remember one day my mother finally relented and bought me, like, a really cool Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
That I was so excited for. And we got it through checkout. I was so excited to open it up. She looked at the thing, and then took me over to customer service to return it.
Why? Because you were so excited?
I honestly don't know, nor do I remember. All I remember is that was the closest I ever got to buying a new toy for years. I think the only other one I had was the
wait, so you're saying she bought it?
Yeah.
And then she returned it?
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm remembering this. The only other new toy that I can remember getting was the second design of Optimus Prime from Beast Wars.
Uh-huh. When he had the skateboard thing and was jetting around in the air.
Which I thought was rad. But, like...
I have that toy.
I'm sure I had plenty of other new toys, but all of the ones I remember were second-hand and slightly broken. Which I don't really begrudge, because, like, ultimately, you know, toys have kind of a short shelf life.
People are wondering if maybe it was broken and she just didn't want to tell you.
No, like, it was just straight out of the packaging, and if it was broken, then there were, like, many others on the shelf and plenty of alternatives. I don't know.
She couldn't bear to see the joy in your eyes?
My parents are real weird. Because, like, they definitely, when I was a kid, alternated between, like, super supportive and kind of not. And I never really understood why.
I admit, I was spoiled. I got a lot of toys. I think it's because
I played
an awful lot of make-believe with the toys, so having a bunch of toys for different series always meant that we had new characters to roleplay with.
I guess I didn't really convince them to... What?
Wow!
Okay.
Slidey time!
I haven't done ice sliding like this since... Ow. Can I go back up? Oh, I can. Convenient. It was weird. Like, they didn't let us have a whole lot of stuff, but we still wasted, like, a weird amount of money on entertainment.
Oh, look at him sliding around. Oh, wait, you died?
Did I?
It looked like you had died.
I did die.
How did you manage that?
I don't know.
And that was a miss.
Thanks. Oh.
Oh, but this is just an area.
Is it? Is it actually a miss, or
Yeah.
did that work out better? But yeah, we wasted a lot of money renting games multiple times. Like, we rented... Oh, shoot. Which games?
We bought a lot of our Nintendo 64 games used or were given them.
I wish we had, but no, we'd rent them like 3 or 4 times before I could finally convince my mother that, yes, having this thing permanently was worth it. And even then, I only got so much. Huh. Yeah, I'm just thinking about some of these things, and it's like, I feel like I should ask at some point, but I kind of don't want to know the answer.
Uh-huh. Well, it seems like you definitely had a lot of books. You had far more novels than I did, but then they gave them all away.
I had all those books starting in high school.
Okay, so you mean as a kid you weren't given
As a
lot of books.
kid, the deal was...
I mean, I used the library an awful lot when I was a kid.
As a kid, the deal was I had to pay for half the books, but I had, like, no allowance or anything like that. And so I ended up getting a job.
I made a lot of money dog sitting.
Yeah, I did refereeing for kids for soccer for a couple of years. You know, on weekends and over the summer, which actually was really good money as a kid. But at the same time, that still only got me, like, you know, maybe a couple $100, and so I had to be very sparing with which books I picked up. So I ended up going for, like, the entirety of the Dragonlance series and a lot of D&D related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think worked well. But no, it wasn't until we hit Massachusetts when my dad found a used bookstore in Arlington that he was just like, oh, we can get books for like $1. And so he started like buying and oh my gosh, this place is huge. He started buying and trading books like crazy, which is why he looted my
Looted your collection of books.
Yeah, he looted my books so he could sell them.
I really wanted to read all those Star Wars books.
I mean, I technically still have them.
I don't want to read them digitally. But I throughout middle school and high school, because the library was between my neighborhood and my school, I periodically would just use the library as an interim spot to hang out with my friends, and they had a whole manga section, so we'd read manga together. But I'd always, every week or every other week, I forget how long. Was it a week? Is that what most books were lendable for?
You know, I don't remember. It was never an issue for me. But my
Yeah, it was never an
library has
issue
always
for me.
had poor selections when it came to, like, books I was interested in.
Oh, we had tons of fantasy novels. I wouldn't say that many of them were modern, but I was fine reading old stuff.
I was fine reading old stuff, but it was a lot of, like, really dry fantasy and sci-fi. Or, like, you know, young adult fiction.
We had a good mix, and I really liked what I was able to find. Though I can't tell you all the titles off the top of my head.
But no, eventually I was able to convince my parents to actually get us more toys. I mean, not that toys were actually terribly important. But mainly it was Lego.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one thing that they were willing to spend actually decent amounts of money on.
Oddly enough, I wasn't very fond of Legos when I was a kid. I liked Bionicle, which was the Technic branch of
I
Lego.
liked Bionicles. We got into that one, especially because those were toys that we could bring with us. It was interesting. There was actually like a pre-Bionicle with discs.
Oh, yeah. We have all those. What do they call them? The something bots.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because the only time I ever saw them in a store was when we were in France.
Oh.
And they came in, like, plastic carrying containers?
Yeah. They look like these little sled things.
Yeah,
and you
it
could
was
slide
like-
them open.
It was, like, the perfect toy
I think
for my
we
brother
have,
and I.
Yeah, we have 6 of the 8 in the set. We have the yellow one that would turn into a jet. We had the white one that would become a skier. The green one that looked like it had a kind of poison-esque face to it. But yeah, Throwbots. The whole premise of the Throwbots was that they had these rubbery arms, like a rubber plastic, and it just had enough tension for you to pull them back and they'd throw discs. And
they could throw a disc like 3 to 6 feet, kind of depending.
Mm-hmm.
And so my brother and I, you know, in the small hostels we were staying in, that was, you know, we'd reconfigure them, rebuild them in different manners, and then throw discs, and it was fun. It was way better than like just an action figure. Oh.
I mean, it's funny how much we got away with as kids when it came to things that would throw projectiles or shoot projectiles. I mean, my friends and I who had sky dancers, you could use sky dancers as projectiles, and that was bad.
It was always a bit of a miracle that they didn't just get wrecked in the process.
Yeah, they're pretty durable, sky dancers. The old ones especially. The old ones were made out of really nice materials. They had a kind of foam-esque feel to their wings, and they themselves were made out of really hard plastic. I think one of the ones I have is part of the first set. It was the pink one with the moon as the handle.
There were some children toys that had caustic chemicals. Yup.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yep.
Ah, the Sky Dancers theme song is coming to my head. I can reach to the sky.
Bad time for it, though.
Oh. Sky
Ruins.
Dancers.
I wonder who built them.
Elvis? This the place you meant?
It appears to have frozen over while I have been away.
Been away?
Pay me no mind. We will need to do something about the ice before we can enter.
Throw hot water on ice.
Yeah, nice one, genius.
Precisely. There should be a geyser nearby. In the cave next to it, we will find a stone called magma rock.
And we can use this rock to melt the ice.
I believe so. So, shall we head to the cave?
Sounds good. Start looking for a geyser, everyone.
A geyser.
Get your
damn
dirty hands off of my hot rocks! I need them!
Oh my gosh! What?
Gramps can't get his boogie on without them. I keep them in my sack for safekeeping, but sometimes I take them out just to fondle them.
Dude, that's terrible. I'm crying. I knew you were going to make a ball joke. I knew it. I knew it.
I know people are coming to take my hot rocks, so I guard them fiercely with my pet elephant. It may look small, but when push comes to shove, it's mighty.
Other interesting British pronouns. There's doing garage rather than garage.
So I wonder what's your favorite looking area? Ooh, probably the Aerith Sea. I like the swamp at nighttime, but during the daytime it looks so crap, so it's kind of hard for me to be as jazzed about that one. Also, I honestly thought we'd be like a decent level going into this. I guess we are. We're 4 levels above most things, but like the fact that I've died twice is actually kind of upsetting.
More than that, I think. But
oh right, 3 times, but one was like a tie. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do some more side quests between sessions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like you can never catch a break with these games.
RPGs are tough.
You get to the next area and you're out-leveled.
Yeah, it's why sometimes I just flip on casual mode and just say screw it. The problem is, like...
Porku Husk.
I don't need a casual mode. I just need a... don't make me do side quest mode. Which is... surprisingly difficult. For developers, I guess.
And it is interesting, though, because we've brought up before that it's interesting that, I mean, you expect there to be a difficulty spike because you're going to be fighting new creatures. But it's amusing when a small band of tiny squirrel things
Presents a challenge for you?
yeah, and they aren't low level, because that's what it would be nice to find a game where the power level of a creature was truly dependent upon the creature as opposed to the zone that they're in.
There are a number of games like that.
Because a bat shouldn't pose any trouble to you.
Unless it's like a crazy looking bat.
Unless it's a crazy bat and a boss bat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The closest I could come up with are like the Gothic series or Elex. Where...
Because that would be more open world.
Yeah, but it was one of those that, like, if you ran into certain monsters at any point in the game, they did not scale. But they would wreck you for the first, like, 20 levels.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I got, like, a good enough gun that it just didn't matter. But at that point I was kind of bored. Because that was one of those games where it's like, it would have been so cool if the beginning wasn't so slow. Because, yeah, it would be like the equivalent of starting your standard, like, RPG, JRPG, whatever. And not being able to fight, like, even the most basic enemies for the first, I don't know, 10 hours of gameplay. Unless you know what you're doing and you're really good. And a lot of it is just kind of, like, wandering aimlessly until you can find somebody with a task that won't just insta-gib you, and it's like, huh. The idea of it is cool. Let's see. Enemies never scaled in Darksiders. Well, Darksiders didn't really have too much of a scaling system, and I would say that's because it kind of pulls from Zelda logic.
Yeah, in Zelda, there's no levels. It's all dependent on the gear that you have at your disposal and how many hearts you
Gosh
have.
darn it, Ryan.
Ryan, why are you in the lava?
I just realized that. I'm like, why is he dead? He shouldn't be dead. These guys are hard, but they're not... They shouldn't be that hard. Oh. He's standing in the lava.
Yeah, it's interesting now that I think about it. Many of the games that I played growing up, you didn't have levels that you had to grind to. I like Zelda's system.
And of course, Charla is elsewhere.
Oh, it's going to kill him with a blaze breath.
Yeah, but I killed it.
Uh-oh, Ryan's down.
Yep, can't do too much about it. And of course, Charla is over there
Where?
fighting...
Ah, she's fighting the cloud, isn't she?
Yep. I really hate those clouds.
No, now she's teleported next to you.
Yeah. She actually decided to help.
You need to heal up.
Working on that.
And at this point, I suppose you're focusing on the Nodo Ferris, but the cloud could still pose a threat.
Oh, Cloud absolutely poses a threat. That sucker hurts.
Ooh, that fireball? Yeah, is there a way for you to get rid of the cloud?
I have to kill it. But But yeah, the problem is these guys
Savage
hurt.
him. Oh, it seems to be down.
Yep, I knocked it over. Let's see, doesn't Riki have healing skills?
I believe he does, but I don't know if you've specced into them. Also, she needs help.
Yep.
Oh, and she's down. Oh, but the Ferris is gone.
Yep, Ferris is gone.
Now you can focus all your efforts on the Ukan Nebula.
Yeah, if you notice, it just has spikes.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's got spikes, and it barely takes damage. Alright. No! Damn it! I didn't mean to... Well, I guess I got both of us. Alright, cool.
Was that the healing wave?
Yeah. Effectively, Riki can puke up heal goo. There we go.
You almost got it down.
Yep. Ouch. Well. Guess that completes that quest.
What's in the pond? Or the magma pool?
Pain.
Wet rats? In the magma?
It's the only way they'll
And
survive.
an ice monkey?
They're very wet.
I can understand it if it was the hot springs like they said there were, but those look way too hot to be hot springs.
They
Those
are
look
disturbingly wet rats. To go back to the love triangle thing, I will say though, so far all of the characters are compelling that I actually care.
I really like them. It's very rare where I like the majority of a party of
JRPG
characters.
cast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to say though that some of them are less interesting.
Well, yeah, at this point we've hit the end of Sharla's, like, development, and at least until we find out that her husband-to-be is also a faced mechon or something.
Right.
At which point...
She hasn't had much involvement since she was able to drop off her brother.
Honestly,
and such.
kind of same deal with Ryan.
Yeah. Though Ryan is always the first to believe Shulk and
Yeah, he's the
stand up
best
for
buddy,
him and
but...
stuff. Ether furnace controls. Interesting. Ooh. Conflagrant rack seal. You're trying to flee just to see if you can draw it,
I
but
just
not
want to
all
see
the
if I
other
can
things.
fight it in the hole. Nope.
Nope.
Alright, pain in the ass time then.
Do you want to take out the Ukan Nebulas before
I have
you...
to.
Yeah.
They will destroy me otherwise.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm
as
sorry.
cute as Riki is, he
What?
hasn't really had that much character development himself.
I think at this point we've hit the upper end on what Riki is going to be involved in.
He's going to be the comic relief that's talking about food and taking credit for the hero's victories and
Still
such.
better than what's his face in 2.
And
Or not in 2, in X.
Dunban is still the steadfast,
He's just the dad.
dad character. He's not necessarily a mentor anymore because Shulk has surpassed him in ability and he never was able to see the things that Shulk can. But
Oh, this is a champion freaking thing.
the Moonlight Pieman. But he still has a stake because he found out his little sister is still alive. Ish? Technically. Perhaps. Alive? We'll have to see.
Wow.
Dixon comes and goes. But he's not part of the party anyway. He's another one of that
This sucks.
original team. Oh, the other two got... Oh.
Wiped out. Yeah, it's a mid-boss.
In a boss chamber room.
Yep. You know what? This sucks.
Isn't that what we need to defeat to get the lava
Nope.
rocks?
I gotta defeat the monster in the back.
That's what I meant.
I'm gonna go back. Well, but yeah, the problem is that wisp thing's probably gonna gank me from behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm...
Well, wait. Are we gonna do anything for the people of Colony 6?
Okay, sure. I was gonna say I'm gonna do that off camera, though.
Oh. I mean, if you're gonna get very little XP from this, then don't even bother.
I probably actually will, kind of. Some of it I won't. Some of it I will. But yeah, some of these things I have to go find a Hode plank. Dark grape.
Oh.
Kneecap rock. Bunny ascent wood. Fossil monkeys. Like, a number of these
a
are...
Hode plank, you'd have to kill more Hode.
Yeah. So a number of these I just have to pull out a guide and start doing collectathon stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is why I was like, maybe I'll just do this off camera.
Okay. I thought that if we upgraded stuff for the Homs that we might get some special abilities or maybe some levels, but nope.
Yeah. Want to take a look, see if there's... No, it doesn't look like we got any Colony 9s. So I think this game has a better story and character design than 2, but less character building and involvement than 2 had. Yeah, 2, all of the characters were very involved, which is good.
It also doesn't help that you won't get some character interactions until you boost their connectivity, you know? Or their... What was it called again?
Oh, their affinity?
Affinity, right. Because there are those special cutscenes scattered throughout the world, but you have to go to a particular location and with the 2 proper characters at a particular level, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would really like to see what they are, but you might need a guide for that too. And yeah, Colony 6 isn't even level 1 yet.
I have...
He's done nothing with it.
I have
We've
not
just
been terribly
side questing
excited.
and then going through the plot.
Yeah, I was hoping I'd just kind of collect everything that I needed, but apparently that's not the case.
Because if they wanted you to go back to the kneecap, you'd actually have to backtrack in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows where the grapes grow.
Let's see, I think you're at the point where you might be able to invite some of the NPCs to Colony 6. The settlement has to be a higher level first. Yeah, I kind of figured as much. So, I think we're gonna just stop here. And I will just go do side content for a while. Because I haven't done much for gem crafting. I know I could min-max this so much harder. It's just hard to care.
Mm-hmm. But to go back to our conversation about the characters, I really like them all. Some more than others. I really liked with all of Melia's arc how she changed and seemed to grow, and how she really does seem to exhibit a lot of different emotions and such, and her voice actress did really well with her character too.
Yep. So yeah, I'm just gonna go grab a guide, move around.
I wonder if they have a separate voice actress for Menace and then Fiora. Or if they're the same, but just changing.
I don't know.
her
I bet you could
voice.
look it up.
Yeah, we could.
Seems like the kind of thing that would be in an IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Price for crafting, if you didn't know, go to 200%. And it gets you the higher level gem. Yeah, I'm just mildly ambivalent right now. I could. But I'm not entirely sure how to easily get up to 200%. And I'd rather just kind of have a gamut of available other things. I was trying to look up a guide on how to do gem crafting. And it's like... The trick is to get the cylinders up to like 90-something, and then you pretty much guarantee it. But every time I try and go for a cylinder that, you know, is a higher level, you know, I try and go for the like 90%. I just shoot way past it. I'm like, well, now I just have a gem. Cool. So I will just probably be lazy. Oh, they do have different voice actors.
Oh, okay.
Well, worked there for bleed defense. Alright, well, you're getting tired, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
So I might as well go work on a number of side quests and just other garbage.
I'll wiggle my toes a little bit. That actually makes me perk up a little. If you think about it, you don't really wiggle your toes much.
I do.
Oh yeah, you do constantly. That's because you have more control over your toes.
Yeah,
than
I
do.
have very flexible toes.
I'm pretty sure Wander could grab things with them if he so chose.
I've done it before. I wouldn't exactly say, like, they're prehensile, but... Okay. This is the slowest part. You know the other thing I haven't done?
What?
Those time trials, like, at the very beginning?
Oh. Did that get you special armor? Or
It gets us special armor skins.
Oh, I
And good gems if I wanted to grind it. Oh, I wonder if I could actually throw this on casual mode to just blast through those.
maybe the rewards will be tuned down for them.
So. Well, one way or another, this sort of thing is going to get real boring real fast. So we're just going to call it here. Thank you all so much for watching tonight. This was fun. We'll be back in a couple of days once I've done my requisite grinding.
Yeah, we'll find out what's going on with the
Everything.
cavern ruins. I'm pretty sure it's going to be where the Monado was originally placed.
Yep.